XF as the new gold standard will deliver a 90% reduction in Staph aureus, that burden of bacteria that resides in the reservoir in the nose, in just 4 doses over 24 hours. And we've clearly demonstrated zero resistance after over 55 passages. So it's not just an incremental improvement, it's a different weapon entirely.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by EMV Capital CEO, Dr. Ilian Iliev, as well as AMR Bio Chair, Nigel Brooksby. Ilian, Nigel, very good to speak with you both. Ilian, I'll start with you. AMR Bio moving towards a crucial stage in its development. As part of EMV Capital's Venture Build program, how will you support the company through the next phase and help it reach the key milestones ahead?
Thank you, Stephen. Well, first of all, it's been under a year since the formation of AMR Bio, and already the company has made remarkable progress on the back of the XF-73 assets that it has been developing. But in terms of looking forward, in a way, the best is still to come. The way we see it with these companies is that we provide, as EMV Capital, both financial support through our investment syndicate, as well as hands-on support through our value creation services, helping the management teams to get through these next milestones. And of course, for AMR Bio, the next milestone is to get to the point of readiness to launch a phase 3 program. At that point, we believe already the company is very valuable, but at the point of phase 3 readiness, we believe there is a fundamental inflection point getting to the next stage. On top of that, Nigel and his team have identified other applications of the core platform technology, which de-risk the proposition for the investors. So we believe it's a very exciting 9 to 12 months ahead of the business, and we are very supportive and excited.
Nigel, since we last spoke, what progress has been made in terms of your discussions with the FDA and progression to phase 3 trials?
Okay, thank you. Stephen, we're at a great stage. We're at that stage where we've asked the FDA for a meeting face to face to discuss the clinical trial program, the final clinical trial program, the so-called phase 3 program. We anticipate a meeting with the FDA within the next 2 months, at which we'll have an opportunity to discuss our plans with them. And really, this is the final piece. This is the final hurdle in getting regulatory approval. And a successful Type B meeting, which is the terminology for the meeting, locks in FDA alignment with our FDA protocol, even before a single patient is recruited. So it really turns this biggest source of clinical stage risk, which is a rejected or redesigned trial, into a known de-risk pathway to marketing authorization. So we're very excited because it gives us priority review, 10 years of exclusivity, and a clear agreed pathway straight through to approval. It's really the moment that promising science becomes funded, fully scheduled program.
So, Nigel, if the Type B FDA meeting is successful, what would you hope AMR Bio to achieve over the following 6 to 12 months?
Again, a great question. Our ambition is that right after the Type B meeting, within the next couple of months, we have a validated phase 3 protocol. We've already, just to remind our viewers, our listeners, that we've already got excellent, superb phase 2 beta already showing exactly the sort of significance we need for approval. So once we've got this, which we already have, the proven mechanism, a clear regulatory path with no resistance liability, we expect that the interest from pharma will be considerable. So that lends the moment, really, lands the moment where big pharma, which is going through its own trials and tribulations with patent expiry biting, decreasing revenues, where big pharma, and only one of the top 10 pharma companies is now actually growing, their interest turns to unmet public health need, where there's true science, and that's exactly what XF-73 will offer. So we'll have a clear pathway to regulatory approval. We'll have interest from Big Pharma, and that really will spell the next 12 to 18 months in the history of AMR Bio.
You've previously spoken about why the current standard of care is failing. How confident are you that hospitals are now ready to adopt a new approach like XF-73, and why?
Stephen, you're right. I've been around a lot of drug launches. I actually calculated the other day that I've been involved in the development and then later the commercialization of over 33 new drugs, new chemical entities, of which I'm pleased to say 7 were in the top 20 all-time best-selling new products, new medicines. Okay, this one is, none of them are ever easy. To launch a new product is never easy, but here we've only got one competitor. The standard of care, just to remind you, is Mupirocin, a very old drug, over 40 years old, where there's already 14% resistance. And we know that in certain parts of the USA, where we're going with our first indication, surgical siting indications or infections, that the resistance is already beyond 20%. It's a clumsy, clunky delivery system, which takes 5 to 7 days. There's only 70% patient compliance, so 30% of patients don't get the drug. Whereas XF, as the new gold standard, will deliver a 90% reduction in Staph aureus, that burden of bacteria that resides in the reservoir in the nose, in just 4 doses over 24 hours. And we've clearly demonstrated 0 resistance after over 55 passages. So it's not just an incremental improvement, it's a different weapon entirely, one that bacteria so far have no evolutionary answer for. So when the gold standard or the standard of care is visibly broken down and a fast, clean, resistant-proof alternative exists, adoption isn't a question of if, it's when. And we will face barriers. But I think here we can show that this new standard of care, this new gold standard, XF-73, will cost the payers less money because less resistance to treat, less resistance building up in hospitals, where hospitals get fined when resistance does occur with Mupirocin. And let's face it, surgeons want to use a new standard of care which will keep their patients safe. So the biggest driver will be the safety of patients and the need for surgeons to adopt a new standard, a new gold standard of care for their patients. So I'm very confident.
Ilian, assuming AMR Bio achieves the milestones that Nigel's just outlined, at what point does the business start to look fundamentally different from an investment perspective?
Look, basically, if we get to the points that Nigel is outlining, which will be in less than a year, you would have had a company go from its foundation to the point of having a phase 3 protocol in under 2 years. Miracles don't happen. It is because of the venture build approach of working with assets that have already been pre-developed. But from investors' perspective, they are coming in this company at a valuation that's one step earlier than where it should be, just reflecting the corporate history. So from the perspective of investors, a year from now, if this is a company with a validated phase 3 approach, without the burden of many years of cost behind it, we anticipate it to be a very attractive proposition indeed. Of course, you have to fund the phase 3 trial. Just having the plan is not good enough. But again, we're confident with this venture build approach that we will be able to get to the market with a much more innovative and capital-light structure for funding the phase 3 trial. And we are already thinking and having some early discussions as to how the phase 3 gets funded at that point. Nothing certain in life, certainly nothing certain in pharma, but we've taken all the learnings that we have over the last few years, and Nigel's been kind enough to lend us the learnings over the last few decades, if you don't mind me saying, Nigel, to make AMR Bio a success.
Well, gents, I hope you'll both keep us updated with progress on that. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
That's EMV Capital CEO, Dr. Ilian Iliev, and AMR Bio Chair, Nigel Brooksby.